So let's talk about living room spaces. So these are the most important part of any house because this is where people spend most of the time. Bedrooms are okay, but you only use the bedrooms when you are sleeping. There's not much activity in the bedrooms. But when you look at the living room, this is like the most pivotal room in the house. This is where you meet as a family. This is where you spend most of your time relaxing during the day. So as such, these have to be designed in such a way that they are just perfect. So here's a few tips, or here's the science behind living room spaces. The first thing that you want to have in your living room is a room that is big enough to accommodate both the space for the furniture and also circulation space, because the living room is a room that links the rest of the rooms of a house. So how the house works, or how a typical house would work, is you get onto an entrance porch first, get into an entrance wall, and straight away get into a living room, and then you can go from the living room into other rooms. So from the living room you can then decide to go out onto an entertainment terrace or an outdoor patio. From the living room you can decide to go into the dining. From the living room again you can decide to go to the bedrooms. So this makes the living room a very pivotal role which needs to be designed, or which needs to be treated with extreme caution. So what you need is a room big enough to put furniture, and is a room big enough to accommodate that circulation space. Now the size, there is no rule to the exact size, but it all depends with the number of people that you want to accommodate. For example, if you are a family, you just want to know or to design something that can accommodate your family size. But all that being said and done, circulation space is very, very important. So you've got space for furniture, and then you have got circulation space. So this is like a public space. And by it being a public space, it means that it has to have volume. So in a living room or in a common room, you then need to have huge volume. And that means that in most cases, you want it to be like a double volume. That is where you have the ceilings high up, or even if you don't have a double volume, a vaulted ceiling in some cases will work because it creates this huge volume. The floor area might not be that big, but the volume is equally as important, since it is a room that accommodates multiple people at the same time. Another thing that is very, very important in a living room is natural light. But you don't want to have this feeling as if you are relaxing in a dungeon where you have got limited natural light. So you want to make sure that you've got bigger windows, you've got bigger doors, and doors will encourage as much natural light as you can possibly get. And still on that note, that then means that your living room is in most cases north facing, and the correct sequencing is that you've got your living room, and out of the living room, right, just outside the living room, you have to have a patio, and then all that is oriented or is designed or placed in such a way that it's north facing. But in some cases, when you've got smaller space, smaller lands, or smaller properties, it might be difficult to orient the lounge in a north direction. And in those circumstances, then your only bet is to make the windows bigger so that you've got as much natural light as possible. And then another very important and intricate part which needs to be treated with caution is cabinetry. Fitted cabinets or cabinetry is what sets the mood in a lounge. Good cabinetry, sometimes they don't need to be too much, but whatever style, whether you're going minimalistic or you're going retro or whatever style which you're going with, make sure that the cabinetry are on point. And this is the part which then accommodates your entertainment space. And in most cases, your entertainment part is where you've got your TV and your home theater system. And in some cases, it then becomes this display where you've got the TV, the entertainment system, and also it is like in a wall mount unit with pieces of decor. And in some cases, it then becomes also a form of a display where you can store some books or any decor items. So cabinetry is very, very important. And probably another thing, again, which is not the least, is also, so we've talked of natural lighting, but also artificial lighting, that is your light fixtures. Those also have to be treated with caution and with care, and you just have to pick the right lighting for the design of the house, because those also would define the mood or the ambience of the living room. So light fixtures would be very, very important to consider. So depending with whatever styling you've got, make sure that you've got light fixtures that are on point. So just to recap, the first thing you want is a room big enough for whatever number you want to accommodate. So the room must be big enough to accommodate the furniture and also circulation space. This is very, very important. The natural light is very, very important. And then you have got volume. The lounge or the living room has got to have a huge volume. The footprint might be small, but the volume has to be big. And then the correct orientation, north facing. But if that can't be achieved, then bigger windows would work. And then you have got light fixtures. And then lastly, your lounge mustn't be claustrophobic, so it mustn't be a room that is closed. So to help on that, you have got bigger windows, and then you would want to extend your lounge onto a porch. And in a modern context, the lounge and the porch is more like a seamless floor. Rather, the lounge and the patio or an entertainment terrace has to be seamless in such a way that when living room doors are opened, it's like a continuous space from the living room onto an outdoor lounging space. And that's what you will want to note whenever you are doing your lounge. So whether you're doing a DIY, you're doing it yourself, or you're giving a design brief to your designer, make sure that in your design brief you include these things. And on that note, I'll catch you on the next one.